Training the human character through the way of the sword. Kendo is a tool for wholesome upbringing for youth, and it can be continued for generations. 3 generations can all practice Kendo together. Another facet of Kendo is the importance of tradition, as it is a martial art. Because of this, the equipment used in Kendo is of paramount importance. Kendo equipment is a tool for doing shugyo training. Because of this, it is used for more than simply protecting the body from strikes. Craftsmen with long experience of handcrafting Kendogu will demonstrate their techniques and the feeling they put into the equipment they create. Before examining the techniques used in the making of Kendogu, let's look at how Kendo evolved to its present form. Let's look at the history. The origin of Kendo is rooted in fighting adversaries using Japanese swords. Through centuries of mortal combat, professional warriors developed optimal sword techniques. These techniques were then systematized so that they could be easily taught to others. However, such technical forms were too abstract. The use of Kendogu and bamboo swords called shinai enables one to strike freely, leading to intense training sessions with many strikes. So when did Kendogu take the form it has today? Much about the history of Kendo remains unknown. It is said that the inventor of Kendogu was Naganuma Shirozaemon Kunisato. This is the place where he is buried. Around 1680, some pieces of armor were used while others were not. Around 1715, Kunisato of Jikishinkage School is credited with consolidating the various components into a single set of armor. Later, Nakanishi Chuzo Tsugutake began using Kendogu to practice Ito-ryu swordsmanship. Thereafter, the practice of using Kendogu spread quickly around the country. Kendogu began to be improved, and by 1844, Kendogu became more or less standardized into the form that we recognize and use today. In the Nippon Budokan, the All Japan Kendo Federation has a vast collection of old and historical Kendo armor and equipment. Variations can be seen in the equipment as it evolved. Yet in 150 years, Kendo equipment has not changed all that much. Today's equipment is more or less true to the original conception created all those years ago. Let's take a look at this historical example of Kendogu. This is a set of Kendogu cherished by Hiromichi Nakayama, who invented a hinged style of do, which he could often use as he traveled. During the war, as members of the Axis Pact, the All Japan Young Men's Association sent kendo equipment to Adolf Hitler as a token of friendship. Mussolini was personally presented with a similar set. Naganuma Shirozaemon Kunisato chose the words Iron Mask to be inscribed on his gravestone. We sense the dedication with which he established the tools that we use to practice kendo even today. Now let's look at the craftsmen who infused their work with the same spirit that drove the man who invented Kendogu all those years ago. Higashi Osaka is part of the industrial section of the eastern part of Osaka Prefecture. There are many small factories in this part of the city. It is roughly analogous to the Ota ward in Tokyo. Let's visit the Osaka Mangani production plant. The Osaka Mangani production plant was founded in 1892. 3 generations have made mangane at this plant. The long history of the plant can be felt in this sign created during the life of the 2nd generation mangane maker, Yoshio Hashimoto. Mr. Koji Hashimoto is the 3rd chief craftsman. He has been doing this job for 40 years.
そもそもこのお仕事に就かれたきっかけみたいなのは何だったんですか？
いやこれも
I am the 2nd son in my family. Usually in the case of craftsmen, the 1st son is chosen as the successor, but my older brother chose a different path for his life, so this job fell to me. I watched my father work, and when he passed away, someone had to continue the family business. In order for it to continue, I had to step up to the job. I started after graduating from school. After watching my father work so hard, I had to continue in his footsteps. I couldn't help thinking it would be such a pity if the job stopped with him.
継ぐとは言うまでやっぱり寂しそうな背中してます。
Koji's younger brother, Kozo, and his 3 sons are also employed at the plant, where they all work every day making mangane. It is a small factory with a family atmosphere. So how is mangane made? Let's visit the place where they are made. The process begins with the cutting of titanium pieces. Titanium is a very strong material that doesn't rust and is remarkably light. Here he is cutting the horizontal bars. The perfectly cut horizontal bars must have a curve to accommodate the wearer's face. This machine, called a keripons, or a kicker, was also used by Koji's father, Yoshio. It is a necessary tool, and without it, they would not be able to do this work. This is a very flexible, adaptable machine. It has many uses. It allows us to bend, crimp, and otherwise manipulate both small and large metal parts. Because it has so many applications and is so useful to us, my father took care of it through the war and afterwards, so we make sure to take good care of it too. We use many other machines besides the kicker, and each of them have their own history and place in the production method. Let's look at the next process. This is called the gawa, or outline shape of the mangane. Using a small hammer, the outline is delicately molded. There are 8 types to accommodate 8 different kinds of faces. This part is called the mine, or peak. Both the horizontal bars and the vertical mine must be carefully curved. Once the individual components are completed, they are gathered for assembly. During assembly, it is important that no dents or scratches are made. The horizontal bars must fit into the outline shape. The curves must be carefully made so that everything fits together well. Small adjustments can be made by using a mallet to fit the horizontal bars into the outline. After assembly, the mangane is placed in a vise and the protruding sections are pinched and removed. This is a delicate process that depends on the craftsman's sense of feeling and long experience for perfection. Now that all the components fit together, it is time to permanently assemble them. The craftsman manipulates the sections, making small adjustments until he senses that it is time to crimp everything into its final place.
微妙なところなんですけども、確認しながらかしめていきます。
It's nearly finished. Now it's time for the final and most delicate step, in which the various connection points are made even stronger, and small imperfections in the shape are corrected. Mr. Hashimoto said this is the most sensitive and important part of the process, requiring skill and long experience. It occasionally happens that the mangane is sent back by the customer who may have identified an imperfection. It is sent back and forth between craftsman and customer until such flaws are worked out.
また直すと、そういう繰り返しですけども、やっぱりそこらが自分ではこれ納得したのにっていうところはやっぱりたまにありますね、そこらが難しいところですと思いますけどね。
Finally, the mangane is polished and spray painted. Then it can be said to be truly finished. A final word from Mr. Hashimoto.
もう40年以上このお仕事されていると、このお仕事の中喜びとかやりがいって
When a new order comes in, we make the mangane and send it to the other craftsmen involved. I look forward to and enjoy the moment when I finally hear from the Kendogu shop that the customer is happy with the final product. I enjoy being able to make the customer personalized orders that suit a variety of people.
我々のしては喜びですね。
橋本さんの座右の銘みたいなものがあれば聞かせ願いたいんですけども。
座右の銘。
何か大切にされていることでも結構なんで。まあとりあえず一生懸命。
Giving your best effort to the craft, something with a pure heart, is the most important thing. Of course, if the customer is happy right away, that is best. But if further adjustments are needed, that is fine too, as long as they are happy in the end. When asked to sum up his job in one word, Mr. Hashimoto had this to say. It would be perseverance. Because this job involves working with your hands, if you don't have perseverance, you can't do it. Whether making the men, the kote, or any other part of the kendogu, I feel that perseverance is a required characteristic.
職人さんはみんな一緒やと思います。それはね、根気は必要だと思います。
The city of Joyo is located between Kyoto and Nara. It is a very green town. Bamboo groves flourish by the side of the highway. When making dodai, bamboo is a crucial factor to which attention must be paid. When Thomas Edison invented the electric filament, he used bamboo from nearby Yahata City. Let's visit a work studio nestled in natural surroundings where bamboo dodai are made. This is the dodai craftsman, Toshikazu Tanaka. Mr. Tanaka also learned his craft from his father. He helped his father making dodai from early childhood. As far back as I can remember, my father made dodai. When I graduated from elementary school, I wrote in my final essay that I wanted to succeed my father as a maker of dodai. At any rate, it seemed like the natural step to take.
とにかく気がついたらするもんだと思ってましたね。
To make dodai, bamboo is lined up and threaded together. Next, cowhide is stretched over the surface, and then a layer of lacquer is applied. Mr. Tanaka performs every step in this process himself. Poles of bamboo are precisely split and used to make dodai. Every bamboo pole is different, so any one dodai must be made from the same bamboo pole. One bamboo pole contains about enough material to make 3 individual dodais. There is a specific order in which the pieces of bamboo are put together. The line that has been drawn on the side is there in case the pieces get out of order. One can put them back together. Making a dodai involves assembling pieces of bamboo. Here, holes are being made for the threading process. Mr. Tanaka has particularly enjoyed the process of making the threading holes since he was young. There are some tasks involved that even children can do. I always enjoyed making these holes because I could do it when I was a child. Because of this, I asked my father to leave that task for me to do when I got home from school. However, once making dodai became his job, he came to understand the seriousness of the task. Suddenly he struck me. The reason being, my hands were too slow. I wasn't working fast enough to make the holes properly. I began to time myself using a clock in order to get faster. This is a job that anyone can do if they have limitless time to work with. To do it well and quickly is the real challenge. This is a craft that involves careful assembling of the pieces. Attention must be paid to the symmetry of the bamboo. Also, there is an added factor of making each dodai to fit a unique individual. It's said that making the dodai plate is the most difficult job of all. Careful attention is paid to matching the bamboo slats so that there are no slits of empty space. If they fit perfectly together, the dodai becomes very strong, and it is of a high quality. This matching is very important. I was allowed to learn it only after I had mastered all the other stages and tasks. My father never said, "Do it this way." Rather, I watched him closely and imitated until I could do it myself. When he was out, I would take two pieces that he had matched and try to do it myself. I couldn't do it. Why did it work for him and not for me? I tried it again and again. Slowly, I was able to get the knack of it. To learn a job, you have to both watch someone else and try it yourself until you are able to do it.
仕事っていうのはね、やっぱり見て盗んで、人のやってるのを見てるだけでね、分かってくるんですよ。
When the matching process is complete, next there is the threading and the setting using small bamboo pegs. Glue is not used in this process. It is made in this way so that the dodai can absorb shock. After this, cowhide is stretched to cover the bamboo. If the assembly process is done properly, the dodai will hold its shape even if the thread is broken. Therefore, the assembly of the bamboo is extremely important. Now we can see the laying of the first layer of lacquer. There is a wide range of tasks required in the making of dodai. The assembling of the bamboo requires a certain amount of power, while the lacquering process is subtle and delicate. The dodai is placed into a moistened enclosure called a muro. This is done in order to allow it to dry properly. After the last layer of lacquer has dried, the dodai is polished over and over. Kendogu, so painstakingly crafted, should be cared for diligently, says Mr. Tanaka.
手入れしないと絶対維持でき
If
ない。
Kendogu is not properly cared for, it will deteriorate and lose its protective quality. Real handmade Kendogu takes time and costs money, so no effort should be spared in its care. Bogu protects us so we can improve our skills and techniques in kendo, but we mustn't forget that it is infused with the spirit of an expert craftsman who made it. We must appreciate the craftsmanship. When I hear that a set of bogu has been used for upwards of 30 or 40 years, there's no better feeling. This is because it has been properly cared for. Things that are properly looked after last
やっぱり
longer.
それは手入れされてるからそこまで持つんですよ。ものを大切にすることはね、もう全てに通じる、と思うんですけどね。
大切にされてる言葉っていうか、例えば座右の銘みたいなものとかってなんかおありですか？
ありますよ。僕はね、いやもうこれは
Yes, I
ね。
do. This does not only apply to making kendogu, it applies to many things like karate. Perseverance becomes power. To continue along a chosen path is both the simplest and most difficult thing to do. Regardless of the path, if you continue to practice it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, after much time has passed, you will find that you have become truly strong. If you endeavor to make kendogu for many years, it will eventually be noticed for its high quality. You should not count the years or hope to be at a certain level after 10 years, but rather you should focus on the path itself. After 10 years have passed, you'll find that those around you acknowledge the quality of your work. Appreciating your own work is meaningless.
自分でこうだああだ言うたってそりゃ通じないところあると思うんですよね。
田中さん、そう思われてというか、それ40年。
I haven't kept track of how many years. When I focus on my work, I pay no attention to the passing years. When I stop to think about it, I suddenly find that a long time has passed. I'm grateful to my father because I was able to become someone who makes high-quality kendogu that pleases people.
長いことやってきたな。で、お客さんが喜んでくれね、ものが作れるようになったのはやっぱり親父のおかげだろうしね。
Next, let's visit a workplace nestled in the bustling downtown center. On this particular morning, the workers are in the middle of their regular morning meeting.
売り言葉に買い言葉のような対応や頭ごなしの反論では円滑なコミュニケーションは成立しません。まず相手の言動を柔軟に受け止め、衝撃を上手に吸収する努力が必要なのです。今日の言葉。
Like any other day, craftsmen discipline themselves while being thankful for the day. These attitudes continue to their workplace. At Tokyo Shobudo, The craftsmen make, sell, and repair Kendogu. Customers begin to arrive in the morning.
これね、顎短め、太短め、
はい。
かなり。で、面表ね、もう短めに切ってきましたから。
あ、はい、ありがとうございます。
一番高い位置になっちゃうから、縛りづらいと思うんだけど、この辺で、これで。
Tokyo Shobudo has a policy of direct communication between the customer and the craftsman of Kendogu.
で、締めてください。
The manager, Eiichi Tetsukawa, had this to say. When making Kendogu, I am always thinking about the customer. I am seeing their face as I make it. I want them to be happy when they receive it. And when they use it, possibly for 20, maybe 30 years, we can have a meaningful relationship. I concentrate every day on crafting Kendogu that will bring the customer satisfaction. This is the final result of Kendogu craftsmen's work. The last main job is making the Photon. The Photon absorbs the opponent's attacks and enables practitioners to give their all in practice. The thick Photon padding is stitched in such a way as to make it strong, supple, and easy to use. The wearer feels it is very soft, yet it acts as a very hard, effective protection against incoming strikes. This is why each individual stitch is infused with the diligent care of the craftsman. Here the cloth used to make futon is being cut. When the cloth has been dyed with indigo, it is called kontan. Indigo dye is used because of its insecticidal and other properties. Cotton is inserted into the cloth to look like this. Let's look at the futon making process in more detail. Deerskin is stretched over the indigo dyed cloth. It is glued using a special kind of rice glue called sokui. Sokui is chosen especially because it dries quickly yet does not become hard. This traditional technique has been passed down by generations of craftsmen. Next, the deerskin and the kontan are carefully sewn together. The craftsman's skill is demonstrated. Experience gives the delicate feel to sense how deep the needle should penetrate and the thickness of the thread to be used. Before the sewing process can begin, an important process called tsujihiki must be performed. Mr. Kamohara is a recent hire. He is in the beginning stages of learning how to make Kendogu. He performs tsujihiki, which is drawing the guidelines along which the skilled craftsman with more experience will stitch. Tsujihiki is the first task learned by craftsmen because it teaches and requires patience and concentration. Mr. Tetsukawa speaks about his own period of early training. I was about 20 years old when I started my early training period. I had to repeat very simple tasks, such as tsujihiki, many times over and over. When I was about 40, I began to feel that I could do this job properly. When I turned 50, I knew for sure I could do it correctly. Recently, I have come to believe the principle that making Kendogu is my life. Yes, when I was young, I didn't think this way. However, I think it is much the same with Kendo. If you continue on one path without wavering, it becomes your life. For the kote, in addition to cotton, deer hair is used to fill the section of the mitt that protects the hand and knuckles. This is another material that has traditionally been used. As with rice glue, Mr. Tetsukawa says that this is another ancient innovation that has been handed down through generations of craftsmen. Because deer hair is hollow and light, when it is struck repeatedly, it breaks down into small pieces, which then mold to the user to form a truly custom fit. I think this is the reason that deer hair has traditionally been used. I think it shows the genius of the craftsmen of old. Another example is the use of the water buffalo hide on the area surrounding the face on the men. It is first soaked in water to make it supple and easy to work with. We had a chance to see the water buffalo hide being applied to the men. final word from Mr. Tetsukawa. It is the same as with Kendo, I think. It is not just about hitting people. It is about refining yourself through refining technique. That is what is important. Making things is the same. The important thing is to improve your technique. The point is not to make many items, sell them, add well to the company. If you do not know your motive for making Kendogu, you can't make things that will truly affect people in a positive way. Recently, something my father said has become a pillar in my life. He used to say, "Give yourself without seeking to receive." When I first heard it, it didn't seem like anything special to me. But now I have come to understand its true meaning. I have learned various skills and gotten better at them for 30 years. I feel that it is crucial that I pass them on to others. Some craftsmen these days hoard their skill and technique, choosing to keep it secret. Because of this mindset, many old skills and techniques have been lost. I choose to teach the techniques I was taught and those I have discovered, not only to my students, but to anyone who is genuinely willing to learn. In trying to transmit what I have learned to others, I can learn still more, and in this way, traditional Japanese culture can continue spreading and remain healthy. Young craftsmen work hard every day at Tokyo Shobudo to learn and protect these skills and traditions. We spoke with Mr. Inoue, who has been with the company for 5 years. I'm in the middle of the difficult stages of my early training now. I think there are many similarities between Kendo and the jobs I am learning now. For example, before Mr. Kamohara drew guidelines for stitching. If his heart is straight and pure, the line will be also. This is why we must train not only our technique, but also our heart and intent in order to become the best people we can. Then we can make bogu with which we are satisfied and which will make the customer happy. It's very simple. The key is joy. If the customer is happy, that is the important thing. Making snacks, making houses, it's all the same. The degree to which one can share mutual happiness is the most important thing. Self-refinement and technique always need to be improved for the purpose of sharing joy with others.
やっぱり自分に関わる人たちがどれだけ喜んでくれるか、それじゃないですかね。